Hello and good evening, guys. Today it is Monday, January 10th, 2022, and this will be the final weekly roundup video I do for the 2021 NFL regular season. So this year, because they added an extra regular season game, instead of it being a 17-week-long season, now, starting this year, for the foreseeable future, I mean, unless they extend the length of the regular season again, which honestly would not surprise me if they did for financial reasons, starting this year, the NFL is going to have a 18-week-long regular season, or sorry, 18 weeks instead of 17. So, okay, so this is the second weekly roundup video of 2022, but the final one for the NFL's regular season. At least this one. So what I'll do is I will go through all of the NFL uniform matchups. Then after that, I've got a little bit of a special presentation for you. It's nothing major, but I will hold it off as a bit of a surprise for anybody who sticks around for the weekly roundup video or for the duration of it. So, but there will be a visual element in this video later on, and I know that this is why I started calling these videos RWRPs, Rockzilla's Weekly Roundup Podcasts, because that way you automatically assume it's a podcast, and then with an exception like this video today, I could come in, butt in the video and say, hey guys, I'm going to have a visual element at some point in the video if you're still watching, and I will give you a heads up on when that's going to happen. But anyway, let's start with the Chiefs Broncos game. Denver actually wore monochrome navy on Saturday, so there were a couple Saturday games this week. I'm surprised that they did not bother with a Monday night game for the final week of the season. I mean, it makes sense, but I think 2 Saturday games are better than 1 Monday game for the final weekend of the season. You get better ratings, I'm sure, but I don't know. Not really a big deal. But, oh yeah, they did have a game last Monday. I was thinking, well, 2 straight weeks without Monday Night Football, that's crazy. But no, not having the Monday night game for the final weekend of the regular season, that makes sense. But anyway, the Broncos wore monochrome navy, and the Chiefs wore their standard away uniform with red pants. The Chiefs won 28-24. But, yeah, I must say, the Chiefs always look good with their white jersey when they wear it with either the red or white pants. I actually think I'm starting to prefer the white pants a little bit more, but would I ever want the Chiefs to ditch the red pants? Absolutely not. I love the red pants. I think the white pants should probably be the secondary pant option for the Chiefs away uniform, only because they are the only NFL team that has a red pant option that they wear regularly. So, yeah. And as for the Broncos, I really hope this ends up being the final season that they wear their long-time uniforms they've been basically wearing for the past 25 years now. I'd like to see them go and adopt the Color Rush uniform minus the monochrome orange. Switch to those jerseys full-time. I think it's time for a change. It would be a big upgrade too, honestly. Moving on, the Cowboys basically had double the amount of points that the Eagles scored. They won 51-26 over Philadelphia. Dallas wore their standard white uniform, and the Eagles wore their dark green home jersey with white pants and black socks. One thing about the Eagles, I find that, when they get their combos right, I guess I can say that with everybody, with any team, but the Eagles jerseys, I don't like the fonts. They look like they're too much right out of the late 90s, early 2000s for me, but those jerseys do actually look all right with the right pants sock combos, in my opinion. Moving on, the Bears, they wore their standard away against the Vikings in their standard home uniform, purple with white pants and purple socks. It's actually a good look. The Vikings, you know, another team with a rather modern jersey style that they tend to wear the right combos more often than not, which is good. And when they do, you know, even though there's some grievances I have with the uniforms, they actually tend to look good more often than they don't in Minnesota, which is good. Moving on, Cincinnati. They lost their final game of the season, 16-21, the Browns won over the Bengals 21-16. The Browns wore their standard home uniform, brown jersey, white pants, brown socks with stripes, against the Bengals, who wore their white jerseys with black pants and white socks. That was a good-looking matchup, actually. And, you know, I must say, I'm happy to see another team that hasn't been in the playoffs in a little while in Cincinnati going and actually winning the AFC North and not Pittsburgh or Baltimore for a change. That's pretty cool. I got to be honest, I was actually rooting for the Browns to make the playoffs this year, so even though they didn't make the playoffs, hey, I mean, the fact that they finally at least ended their 20-year drought of not making the playoffs, that was nice. But since it's the Cleveland Browns, why do I think it'll be another 20 years before they make it again? I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, that was a really good-looking matchup for uniforms. But speaking of uniform matchups, there's actually a few really interesting uniform choices that were brought out this week, which I thought was pretty good. The first one being the Detroit Lions. So they played the Packers. Obviously, the Packers wore their standard away. I noticed that the Packers have not worn their all-white color rush uniform this year, which I think is really good. I'm glad to see it gone, honestly. The white pants actually, you know, if they wear their dark green socks, the white pants with their white jersey would probably look really good. Of course it would look really good, but I love the gold pants for Green Bay. It wouldn't be right if they didn't wear the gold pants, whether it's their home uniform or their away uniform. But at the same time, though, I do think either their green or white, their home or away jerseys with the white color rush pants and dark green socks would probably, in both cases, look all right. But as I say that, though, I'm not against Green Bay never doing that, because to me, them not wearing the gold pants just isn't right. I'd rather they add some extra stripes on the sleeves of their jerseys again, to be honest. But yeah, it's nice that they haven't worn the color rush look this year. I think that's really good. I mean, the white pants look good, but when you wear white socks too, it ruins it. But as for the Detroit Lions, they broke out their throwbacks, and I actually have learned recently that the Lions throwback uniform they've been wearing since their most recent redesign a few years back actually isn't a true throwback. I hear that the throwback had a darker blue, which I didn't know that. So that kind of stinks that Detroit did not bring that uniform back with the proper color. So that's unfortunate. But now with the one helmet rule being changed, well, that's not going to make a damn bit of a difference for Detroit. But it would be nice if they at least fixed their throwback uniform, even though I think all three of their main jerseys aren't the greatest, to be honest. Moving on, unfortunately, the Colts wore head-to-toe white again, and guess what? The one team that they should have had no problem defeating to get into the playoffs, Jacksonville, well, they lost to them. So perhaps that's a little bit of karma for not wearing blue socks. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I must say, I mean, hopefully the Colts stop wearing head-to-toe white. But yeah, maybe a little bit of karma for not wearing their blue socks. I'm being a bit of a jerk, but over socks. But All I'm trying to say is I hate it when the Colts wear their beautiful white uniform, their white jersey, with white pants and white socks. The white helmet, the white jersey, the white pants, they need the blue socks to break up all that white. They just look like stormtroopers out there with blue stripes on their jerseys, on their uniforms, when they don't. So, that's a shame. The Jaguars, they wore their teal jersey with white pants and socks. I mean, this Jacksonville team this year was as bad as they looked on Sunday with their uniform. Their team is as bad as their uniform choices, in my opinion. I mean, the teal jerseys, it's nice to see that it's their main color again, but I tell you, I do not like the monochrome white jersey, white pant, white sock combo, yoga pant look. It's not good. Moving on, the Steelers, they wore their standard away, but the Baltimore Ravens did something different this week that I really enjoyed. The Ravens wore their black jersey with white pants and black socks. Finally, they decided not to go with a college football monochrome crap look with their black alternate. It was nice to see. Baltimore actually looked really nice on Sunday. I mean, would I want the Ravens to switch to their black alternate full-time? Truth is, I wouldn't. I mean, for me, I really like the idea of one AFC team wearing purple and one NFC team wearing purple. I think it's nice that there's two NFL teams that primarily wear purple. That's a good thing, a really good thing, and I wouldn't want that to change. But I must say, Ben Roethlisberger was able to lead the Steelers to beating the Ravens in overtime on Sunday. Because of that, and because of the fact that the Raiders and the Chargers didn't tie, Ben Roethlisberger gets one more game before he's likely calling it a career. So I'm happy for the Steelers for that. I mean, they weren't as good this year as they were last year, but last year they slowed down and collapsed late in the season, and then they had that horrible game against Cleveland. But I must say, because of Ben Roethlisberger likely retiring, am I ever glad to see that at least he gets to go to the playoffs one more time? I think that's actually pretty special. That was a good-looking matchup. Moving on, the Titans wore monochrome white. Just yuck. Against the Texans in their standard home uniform with white pants and navy socks. Texans looked good. Tennessee, not so much. Moving on, this game that I'm going to talk about kind of bugs me a little bit, but Washington wore their away jersey, the white jersey with burgundy pants and white socks, against the Giants, who wore their standard royal blue home uniform with white pants and blue socks. Now, the reason that this game, looking at the uniform matchup, bothers me is because this is likely the last time we will ever see Washington wear their gorgeous burgundy and white uniforms, the classic Redskins uniforms. I mean, if the team's to change their name, which they've already done, that's one thing, but changing two of the most gorgeous uniforms in the sport, I'm sorry. I've seen the teasers for the new launch of the new name, or for the launch of the new name and branding for the Washington football team for next year, but I'm sorry, it wasn't the uniform that people had a problem with. It was the name. You've changed the name. Why do you need to change the uniform? I don't know. I'm really not looking forward to the Washington football team's new identity, because I can already tell from the sneak peeks that the new uniforms are going to be a goddamned dumpster fire. It's a shame, really. I mean, changing the name is one thing, but to get rid of those gorgeous uniforms as part of it, I have a problem with that. I'm not gonna lie. That just is really, it's a real shame. I'm not gonna lie. Moving on, the Panthers wore their black jersey with white pants and socks. What a stupid uniform combo. And the Bucks wore their white jersey with pewter pants and black socks, my bad. So Tampa Bay won convincingly. Of course they did. They've been a great team once again. I wouldn't be surprised if they go win another Super Bowl. I mean, that would be amazing. But I don't know. I could actually see Green Bay has been such a good team this year, though. So we'll have to wait and see. Moving on, the Patriots wore their standard away uniform, and the Dolphins broke out their throwbacks. And I hear that they actually tend to have a pretty good record in recent years wearing both their teal and white throwbacks. Why the Dolphins haven't gone full-time retro at this point is beyond my understanding. Is just even though their current primary uniforms, when they wear the right combos, are actually all right, they're okay, but the throwbacks are just perfect. They're so damn pretty. Why not go back to those full-time, Miami? Like, Jesus Christ. That's baffling to me. But they need to go. If there's any team that should go retro right now, it's Miami. Seriously. Moving on, the Saints and the Falcons. So Atlanta wore head-to-toe black. They wore their home jersey with black pants and socks. First time I've actually seen the Falcons do head-to-toe black with their home uniform this year. And I must say, as much as I don't like the Falcons' new uniforms, the fact that they've been keeping the monochrome to a real minimum this year, that's nice to see. I'm really impressed that it's taken them this long to wear monochrome black. I mean, truth is, as long as they're stuck with these new uniforms of theirs, I'm actually hoping that we see them break out some red pants that they had shown in their uniform unveiling a year ago for a game or two at some point next season. That would be cool. But I think the Falcons only wore their gradient red alternate for one game this year. That's interesting. But the Saints, what happened this week? They wore their gold pants again and they won. If it wasn't for San Francisco winning their game against the Rams yesterday, New Orleans would have actually qualified for the playoffs. And as I say, it seems like they actually tend to win games when they wear their gold pants. New Orleans. It's a sign. When you wear your right combos, you actually play better. Look good, play good, I guess. I mean, the jerseys are a little bit plain for my liking, but you know what? When you wear the right combos, you could take a plain jersey like the Saints' main jerseys and actually make it look a whole lot better. Like they did yesterday against the Falcons. So, yesterday, the Jets wore monochrome white, and the Bills wore their blue home jersey with white pants and blue socks. Absolutely gorgeous uniform. That's the only combo the Bills should ever wear with that home uniform. Now, so, moving on again. So, the second interesting thing, well, actually, that's not true. Let's see here. So, in terms of interesting uniform choices, the Lions throwbacks were number one because I was really surprised that they didn't break them out for Thanksgiving this year. So that was surprise number one. Surprise number two was the Ravens wearing their black jersey with white pants and black socks. That's a really nice combo with that black jersey, in my opinion. Number three, Washington wearing their classic Redskins uniform, the white jersey, burgundy pants, and white socks one final time before they ruin their uniforms alongside the new name and logo that they're going to unveil very soon. So, uniform discussion point that I found interesting discussion point number 4, the Dolphins' gorgeous throwbacks that they need to go back to. I'm going to say interesting uniform choice number 5, the Saints winning yet again wearing the gold pants. The Falcons doing head-to-toe black at number 6. And finally, the 7th interesting uniform choice of the week. The Seattle Seahawks finally broke out their wolf gray alternates for their final game this season in Arizona. Seattle won 38-30 over Arizona. Arizona wore their red jersey, white pants, red socks. Their best combo, in my opinion. But Seattle actually wore their wolf grays for a game this year. And they won. Gray jersey, gray pants, navy socks. That's a gray alternate that actually looks decent. I mean, to be honest, as much as I don't like the bone uniform for the Rams, now that I think about it, if they actually would have switched to navy blue and athletic gold with their new uniform design, the bone actually would have worked a lot better, in my opinion. I mean, I'm glad that the Rams have gone back to royal blue, don't get me wrong. But if they were going to focus on being yellow or athletic gold and an off-white bone color, I actually wonder if the navy blue that I'm suggesting might have been better. I mean, do I miss the navy blue and metallic gold uniforms? No, I don't. But, you know, if they're going to do a bone-colored uniform, I actually think a navy blue instead of a royal blue might have suited it a whole lot better, and then brought the royal blue throwback out and then did the right thing and go full-time retro after that. I don't know. But, you know, if the bone uniform for the Rams used a navy blue instead of royal, I actually think it would have probably been better. But as I say that, though, as much as I hate the Rams' new uniforms, at least I'll give them credit on one thing. They did go back to royal blue and gold, even though they crapped the bed on their new uniforms. But speaking of the Rams, to wrap up the NFL regular season in terms of weekly roundup podcast talk, San Francisco wore their standard away. The Rams wore their royal blue home jersey with bone pants and royal blue socks. So the Rams actually wore one of their better uniform combos. But the 49ers, they won the game in overtime, 27-24. And because of that win, San Francisco will make the playoffs. So now they're going to play, I believe they are playing the Brady Bunch in Tampa Bay. So that's going to be interesting. Why don't I do some playoff predictions here before I move on in this video and show you something visual. So the Raiders are playing the Bengals. In my opinion, either team could pull that off. Honestly, I think they're both pretty even. As for the Bills-Patriots, I actually believe that with how good with how much playoff experience Bill Belichick has as a coach, something's telling me that the Patriots are going to upset the Bills. I have a funny feeling that New England is going to shock everybody and beat the Bills. Now, I obviously could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo pulls it off. But there's part of me that has a funny sneaking suspicion that New England's going to squeak it out. There's just something about the way Bill Belichick coaches, his playoff experience as a coach, the way that he has been able to coach a Brady-less Patriots team to a playoff berth just in the second season after Brady left. I don't know. I got a funny sneaking feeling New England's going to upset Buffalo. But I could be wrong. As for the Eagles-Bucks, there's no way the Eagles can beat the Bucks. I mean, the only way I think it's possible is if all of a sudden players like Tom Brady just start limping off the field with injuries. And obviously, you know, I don't wish injuries on any of the players. So I hope that doesn't happen on either side or on any of the teams, no matter if there's teams that I like or I dislike. But, you know, I think unless Tom Brady and a bunch of really good players on the Buccaneers, defense and offense and special teams start getting injuries and limping off the field, I just cannot see the Eagles being able to defend against the Bucks. I mean, I'll say this, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose to the Eagles on Sunday, I'm so convinced, I'm so sure that the Bucs are going to win that if they lose to the Eagles somehow, some way, I'm buying a lottery ticket. I'm just saying. That's how low of odds I think the Eagles have against Tampa. Now, as for the 49ers and the Cowboys, yeah, the Cowboys are going to likely spank the 49ers. I think the Cowboys are far too good of a team at this point, but maybe they crap the bed in the playoff game at home. I mean, it's possible, but I just do not see it happening. I really don't. As for the Chiefs-Steelers, it will be Ben Roethlisberger's last playoff game. It will be his final game of his career. I mean, I can't see... The Steelers just have not been a good team this year overall. They've been good enough to make the playoffs, which has been impressive, but I don't see them being able to defend against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I just don't see it. As for the Cardinals-Rams, that game, it's surprising to me that they've decided to do a Monday night playoff game. That's crazy. But, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about a Monday night playoff game, honestly. But the thing is, think about this, though. This playoff game will be in Los Angeles in the Pacific time zone starting at 5:15 on a Monday night. I mean, if there was any matchup to be moved to a Monday night for the playoffs, it should have been a game that's being played on the East Coast, in the Eastern time zone, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. I actually believe that... for example, if for example, the Cowboys-49ers game was moved to the Monday night, starting at 5:15 Pacific time, it would still be, the game wouldn't be starting until just after 7 in Dallas. I mean, I actually think maybe they should have moved the Raiders-Bengals game to the Monday night and had the game in Los Angeles on Saturday, because... I mean, obviously there's scheduling conflicts and all that too. I should think about that too. But a Pacific time zone being the time zone to have a game played on a Monday night, for the NFL playoffs, I don't know how I feel about that. I have a funny feeling that SoFi Stadium may not be totally sold out. I mean, I'm probably going to be wrong. I don't know. But... wouldn't it make more sense to at least have a Central Time Zone game on a Monday night? I mean, whether the Cowboys play at home or play on a Sunday or a Tuesday or, I don't know, a Wednesday, people are going to fill up Cowboys Stadium for a Cowboys game. And considering they're in the Central Time Zone, the game would be starting after 7 there, not starting at 5:15 on a Monday night in Los Angeles. I don't know. I think that the NFL's decision on that one, I don't know. I mean, the 49ers and the Cowboys will be a big ratings boon on a Sunday afternoon, though. There's no question about that. I don't know. But in terms of a Monday playoff game, for the extended wild card weekend, I actually think it's a good idea for the NFL. I mean, I think that having that extra day for guaranteed playoff ratings, I think what they've really done is they've given themselves a guaranteed ratings boom. So that's it for your NFL talk at this point. I'm going to get into a little bit of the fun portion in this video, and I'm going to open a pack of hockey cards, and we'll look at those. And it's the first pack of hockey cards that Tim Hortons has ever done featuring Hockey Canada instead of the NHL. I actually, you know what I think would be amazing is if they one day did that for the Canadian Hockey League. I'd love some CHL cards. if Tim Hortons did that. I'd buy them too. So oh, come on. Okay. So pack's open. Oh, wow. Cool. All right. Okay. So the first card I got was Mark Stone. Okay, nice. I got a Corey Perry card. I love the uniform he's wearing. Unlike the one Mark Stone is wearing. I hate that uniform with a passion. And I got a Wayne Gretzky. Wow. Okay, that made my night right there. That Wayne Gretzky card. That's just so cool, man. That's just so cool. Wow. Wow, I didn't think I'd be opening a new pack of hockey cards with a Wayne Gretzky card in it. But wow, that's cool. That Gretzky one is my favorite of the three, for sure. That's just so cool. I think a lot of people will end up getting that Wayne Gretzky card in their hockey card packs, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with getting the great one. That's so cool. So, okay, well, basically we'll have some time near my fireplace here. I'll tell you a little story about what's been happening to me lately. So I guess a little bit of story time with Roxilla at this point. But in recent weeks, with how cold it has been where I live, there's been times where I get comfortable under the bed sheets and my feet are as cold as ice. So I've had to make sure that I get this fireplace on to warm my room up down here. So I make sure to put this thing on to heat the downstairs of my house so that my room isn't as cold. And thankfully, I've been finding that this usually does make a difference. But the only thing is that when I don't use it, if it's cold enough, my feet feel like ice cubes. And then here's my body. Everywhere feels fine except for my feet because they're so cold. And I feel like I pulled my feet out of a big gas barrel that was full of ice cubes that had melted. And then I put my feet in there. Jesus. You know, one of those big barrels full of ice cubes. And I put my feet in there for half an hour and it melted. And I had them sitting in cold water, and then I pulled them out and then just went to bed. That's what it felt like last night, almost. That's how cold my feet were. So this fireplace should be able to help rectify that problem tonight, hopefully. But something that I got to talk about that I found really interesting. Aesthetics now has his own podcast that he has started on his YouTube channel. I mean, unlike mine, there's these little lines that go when he talks, which is kind of interesting. But, I mean, it's a podcast, so you listen to it on the side. Just like I assume you guys listen to mine on the side, too. But I find it interesting that he's now started a podcast. But you know what else I noticed? His podcast has over 1,000 views. Ow. Over 1,000 views already. I mean, I didn't think he'd get that many views for doing a podcast. But wow, I mean, I find it really interesting that he's now started getting into the whole podcast idea. But I also have noticed that he's really been starting to pick up the amount of stuff he posts on YouTube now, which I find rather interesting. And I kind of have a bit of a feeling that he's going to start to post a lot more on YouTube in the coming months. I see it happening. I have a funny feeling it's going to start to happen. I think he really wants to get it off the ground. I mean, considering how well he's done on YouTube in just a year, I mean, I really don't blame him at this point. In terms of my channel, though, there's some stuff I got to talk about if you're still listening. I still need to sit down and film my Facebook monthly update video. This weekend it has been a bit of a blur for me. I was exhausted. My first day off, I was just so friggin' exhausted. And then today, then last night I watched a movie, then today I was out all day. And I mean, yeah. Thankfully, I've had just enough time to sit down. I got this week's concept feature uploaded on Discord finally. And Nick, I'm sorry that it took so long to get that uploaded, but I'm glad that I finally got that concept posted today. And at least now I've caught up on the concept side of things. So now with this video, I'll be caught up for the weekly Roundup podcast for this week. And then my goal is probably going to be to try and sit down and film my Facebook monthly update videos at some point tomorrow night, and hopefully have it up by the end of the week. That's going to be my goal. But also, to my viewer Donnell, I want to do a reverse retro video. I might even do a second one for you at this point. I've got that I want to do. I think there is a prototype files video that I do want to finish up before I start Operation Rewind. Today's the 10th, today's the 10th. So I've got 3 more weeks before January's over. So I should have enough time to get most, if not all of that done. That's going to be my goal. And then after that, in February, that's when I'm going to start to rewind and go back and maybe touch base on some older topics and do some catch up. So I'm looking forward to that. I might have an announcement to make in the coming weeks. If I decide to go ahead with what I'm thinking of doing, I will let you guys know. But yeah, so one thing, though, that I will say is that, what was I going to say? So one good thing about the NFL regular season being over now is that now, starting next week, the amount of uniforms to cover is going to be a lot less. So that'll make these videos a little bit shorter, which might be a good thing, but there'll be less to talk about for sure. I'll have to try and improvise for the month of February a little bit, and then March we'll end it for likely, for the short term it'll be over. Long term, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if I will keep doing it, but we'll see. I'm leaning towards one of the options a lot more than the other at this point, but I'll make that decision final probably very soon. There's part of me, there's been a couple things that I've been thinking about whether I should keep them or not, and I've been kind of flip-flopping on it, but one of them, I've come to a conclusion that I think I'm likely going to get rid of it. And the other thing, I'm likely to be keeping it. As for what that is, I'm going to save that, and I'm going to start to talk about that stuff next month. So, yeah. Truth is, I might actually plan for February to be a month where the monthly channel update video is not posted on Facebook. It's posted here on YouTube instead. there's a lot of things going through my mind right now about the future of the channel. And I'm trying to juggle that with work and life in general. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff I got to do at this point. So hang in there. Please be patient with me. I'm doing my best. But my goal now in the next few weeks is there's some more videos that I really want to try and take care of. Donnell, that request of yours, I want to make sure that if I'm going to go back, rewind, and completely stop taking any viewer requests and just focus on old stuff, I want to make sure that all the viewer requests I have are done first. That's my plan. But yeah, I got a lot on my plate at this point. I'm going to really need to figure out my course of action here in the coming couple of months, to be honest, because there's a lot, I got to be honest, there's a lot of stuff I got to get done with the channel that I want to do, and some stuff in my personal life too, I'm not going to lie. But anyways, guys, I've been talking for over 40 minutes. If anybody's still watching, I hope that this was worth your time. But at this point, I'm going to call it a wrap for this week. For those of you on Facebook, I still need to sit down and do that monthly channel update video. I'm going to aim to try and get it done tomorrow, but I'm not going to make any guarantees. But with that, guys, I'm going to call it a wrap at this point. So take care, and until next week's Weekly Roundup podcast video, bye for now, and hopefully I'll have something in between this video and the next one, the next Weekly Roundup. But anyway, on that note, guys, take care, and as always, bye for now.